How many follow-up emails should I really be sending when someone goes through my funnel? The answer might not be what you think. My name is Mark Haberstock, marketing coach, consultant, and the creator of the Flywheel Marketing Method program. In this video, I'll be walking you through how I determine how many emails should be in a specific follow-up sequence. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this every week. Okay, so how many emails should we really be sending in a follow-up sequence? Typically, my go-to numbers are a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6. Of course, there's some exceptions to that, right? It's all going to depend on two main factors. Number one, the temperature of the traffic or the audience awareness level. And number two, the objective or the goal of that email. Okay, what action are you trying to get them to take? Obviously, everybody has their own idea of how many is too many and how many is too little. I've seen some go as high as 30. And what I'm going to do is show you what my philosophy is and what I've found works with both my funnels and funnels I built for clients. There's people out there who truly believe in hammering their list with offers and hoping they either buy or unsubscribe. And this mentality couldn't be more detrimental to a growth strategy. You're basically saying you only have time for buyers and you aren't interested in cultivating relationships and helping to nurture prospects until they're ready to buy from you. There's a reason people don't feel comfortable going to car lots. It's this mentality. You've probably heard this cliche before of pressure makes diamonds. People love to throw around all kinds of cliches and hang their hat on it like it's 100% true all the time. Yes, in some situations, pressure can be a good thing. But why would you want to hammer people to buy your product or service? That's how you get a bad reputation, a high refund rate, and it ultimately just adds more friction into your flywheel. Now, before we dive in, I just want to preface this with the fact that I'm only talking about follow-up sequences here, okay? I'm not talking about nurture sequences or anything like that. By follow-up sequence, I mean the emails you're sending to someone who enters your funnel and doesn't convert. These emails are specifically trying to get them to take that conversion action. So first and foremost, the traffic temperature or the audience awareness level is going to play a key role here. Marketing and sales is really relationship building. So think about cold traffic as meeting somebody completely random in a bar or something like that. When they give you their number and you reach out to them for the first time, how many text messages are you going to send? If you send too many too soon, you're going to come off as pushy and someone who needs a lot of attention, right? And if you never follow up with them or you wait too long, they could forget about you or become completely disinterested. So how does this convert over to marketing? Well, if you're following up with someone who just gave you their email for the first time, just like in a lead generation funnel, you're typically going to want to send one email a day for maybe 5 days. After that, you're going to move them over to a nurture sequence. That's one side of the equation. The complete other side might be if you're following up with someone who just finished a webinar and you have a limited time offer. In this case, you're going to increase the number of emails you send. For example, on the last day, you might have as many as 3 or 4 as the countdown starts to run out. One to say it's the last day, another one to say, hey, there's 12 hours left, don't miss out. And then usually like a 1 hour, get in while you can, maybe a last chance email. So it's really going to depend on the situation. And for the most part, you can get away with more emails the warmer the audience or traffic is. Now, what's going to play an even bigger role is the goal or the objective of the sequence. If your follow-up sequence is to buy a tripwire or an upsell after a lead magnet opt-in, I wouldn't recommend doing much more than maybe 4 or 5 emails. Any more than that, you're going to overwhelm them. Remember about how that looks in a relationship, right? If at that point they don't take action, one more email isn't going to make the difference. By that point, they've said they need more nurturing. They either need more time or more information. That's when you'll want to transition them over to a nurture sequence. Sometimes the offer can play a role as well, and that's when you're going to see a higher number of emails in a sequence. Really good example is when you're trying to get a warm lead to buy a high ticket offer, and the offer has an expiry date or some kind of limit. You're going to get away with a few more emails. If it's something you offer on an ongoing or an evergreen basis, you won't get away with as many. Event funnels are another great example. With live events, people might opt in to show interest 6 months out. So in that case, you obviously want to send them at least at minimum an email a week, right? With a higher number in the last week leading up to the event. But remember, this is a very specific scenario. It's really important that you don't send too many. When you do, or when every email you ever send somebody has some sort of offer in it, people will stop opening your emails. There's a number of high-level influencers and even marketing experts that send me so many emails. I rarely open any of them because 99% of them are a sales offer. They've they just don't provide any value in their emails. So it's important that you take the impression you make on a new lead very seriously to make sure you're not burning that bridge before it's even built. This is especially true when companies start to get too big. Eventually, you'll have so many different avenues for somebody to interact with your business, and your automations just start piling up. Sometimes you'll end up sending multiple emails a day simply because you're not segmenting your subscribers correctly. That's why it's really important to go through your funnels every 6 months to a year and stay on top of those things to make sure your new leads and customers are getting the exact experience you want them to have. Does that make sense? I can tell you, I have a couple clients right now where we have to do this on a regular basis because their businesses have grown so large that there's so many different ways that customers can be attracted and new leads and prospects can be attracted into the business through so many different avenues. Okay, the flywheel is working and it's growing bigger and bigger with more and more momentum. So it's important to not always just look ahead, but to look back and see what type of experience people are getting when they opt in or when they enter your marketing flywheel from different angles, and make sure that that's a good experience and they're not getting conflicted messages and that they're not getting the wrong message at the wrong time. I'm going to post a link to a video up here that talks about email sequence priority that will help you if you're finding that to be an issue. It talks about setting priority levels to make sure that if you're in a very important sequence, you're not also getting a nurture sequence just because you opted in for a free lead magnet over here, but you're actually further through the funnel in another way. Okay, so watch that video. I'll link it up here again. I will say though, that every follow-up sequence should have a bare minimum of 3 emails. People make decisions based on one of or a combination of these 3 things: what they have to gain, what they fear, so again, what they have to lose or what they're missing out on, and logic. Does it make sense? Is the offer a no-brainer? Every follow-up sequence should have at least 1 email based on each of these premises: 1 gain, 1 logic, and 1 fear. And if you have a positive case study or testimonial, then that would be the 4th I'd say you should have. If you don't have any of those, then you should at least have 1 gain, 1 logic, and 1 fear-based email. You can really tell when someone has no idea what to write for their emails when they write every follow-up email basically the same, and the message is the same, or at least in a similar way. That's why I always recommend people start with gain, logic, and fear emails to give them an idea of how you can write emails that draw off different types of decision makers. I actually have a free gain, logic, fear email template that I put together, and you can get it. I'll leave a link in the description below for where you can access and download it. Again, at the end of the day, the key takeaway here is to consider how the pace of your follow-up sequence is going to affect the relationship you have with your leads for each specific funnel, rather than just barraging your leads with offers. And also consider the action you want them to take based on, how strong that relationship is with you and your company at that point. So at the end of the day, I believe each email sequence should have a minimum of 3 and aim to have no higher than 6 unless the situation calls for it, like an offer that's expiring or if it's a live event or something like that. This is why having a flywheel-based marketing strategy is so important. You can stop thinking about leads that go through a follow-up sequence and don't take action as lost opportunities. With a flywheel, they simply just move to a nurture sequence and they're given valuable content that helps to strengthen that relationship until they are ready to become a customer or client. If you want to learn more about my specific flywheel marketing method, I'll leave a link in the description to a free training you can watch. If you're ready to start building your flywheel today, head over to flywheelmarketingmethod.com. For more training and resources, of course, you can join the Flywheel Marketing Method Facebook group. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like this video so that others can see it. Links are below, and I'll see you on the next one.